Okay, so today we will complete about this chapter, that is environmental issues. So from the beginning, we are doing some slideshows. Okay, so the first slide, which is talking about the marks and the weightage of the chapter. So this is a chapter which will explain you about types of pollution and how to control it. And there are some steps given in the to how to control the pollution and what all we can do, what all government can do, what all people can do to control the pollution, and what are the types of pollution. And second, it talks about the biological hazards we are doing to the environment, to our Mother Earth. And third is that how is the conservation for this process, like what all we can treat, how we can treat the garbage properly, how we can dispose them off properly. And average marks is about 3 to 4 marks, which is being in the board examinations. The next slide, which is that the topics to be covered is first one is your air pollution, second water, third is the solid waste, and fourth is the radioactive. And then you talk about the greenhouse effect, and then the ozone depletion and deforestation. Okay, so the first question which arises is that define pollution and its types. So pollution is like a kind of, there is a kind of a harmful pollutants in the environment, you can see. Okay, so there are kind of some harmful environmental pollutant substances which are also called as pollutants. And those pollutants which is actually harming your body. Like for example, when there is a air pollution, so there are three types of pollution: air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution. When there is air pollution, you are causing harm to your respiratory system of the humans and also of the animals. So basically, air pollution is caused by like factory these things, factory when the harmful chemicals are being emitted, by that harmful gases are being emitted, your carbon monoxide, when your this plastic is being burned, then this happens. Second one which comes is your water pollution. So whenever there's a kind of like hospitality, hospitals are having harmful chemicals, so they just spit all those chemicals in the rivers or any water bodies, which will actually harm the water aquatic these aquatic animals, which can actually cause water pollution. Okay. So the third one is your noise pollution. Noise pollution, as we can say, that the motor vehicles. When we talk about the noise pollution, we mainly talk about motor vehicles. And whenever there's a traffic jam, you can say, or whenever you can say that there's a kind of an event is going on, so you have those big speakers which can actually harm your ears, which can actually harm your eardrums and all. So yeah, these are kind of like some of the pollution and its types. Second, the question arises is that what is the major source of air pollution and what is the remedy? See, as I told you that automobiles are also a very major cause of the noise pollution, also and air pollution also. How we can say that air pollution? Because nowadays petrol and diesel are kind of, they are containing lead, and which can actually cause very much harm to the environment, and it can reduce the level of oxygen. See, because the amount of the engine when you run the automobile, instead of having your own automobile or using your own automobile, you can use the public transports also. That can actually help. Why? Because is that because many of the autos nowadays is using CNG, many of the cars is using CNG, and many of the buses are using CNG. So these public transport services are using CNG instead of petrol or diesel. So basically, these are very efficient and basically very cheaper than the petrol or diesel. Okay. So, and it cannot, there's a very good point which is written over here. Then CNG is cheaper than petrol or diesel and cannot be sniffed off by thieves and adulterated like petrol or diesel. So basically, in board examinations, it can be asked that why CNG is much more preferred than petrol or diesel. It can be a two or three to marks question, and this can happen. So yes. So basically, When we talk about the air pollution, we are talking about the automobiles. And yeah, factory is playing a major role in causing the air pollution, but mainly I could say that automobiles are much more there because they are heavily, this population is increasing of India. So we are actually now the first most populated country of the world, we can say. And every family is nowadays earning and buying a new car, which can actually cause a problem. The next slide we would say is okay. So the next slide is which is that can noise be classified as air pollution and why? See, noise pollution can only be caused by the automobiles, and the second one is when there's a big event is happening or something like that. So when you turn off the speakers or something, so that is the see absorbent materials are some of your wood, you can say your horn free zones around hospitals, you can say like all these see materials you can buy from the market and make it in your home so that you can whenever there's something kind of event or something you can there those materials which actually absorb all the noise, the muffling noise, you can say. And whenever there is a kind of those areas where there's hospitals, there's schools, okay, colleges or something. So there is crackers and loudspeakers that should not be allowed. In Diwali too, we use a lot of crackers. We spend a lot of money, which is actually a waste because all those crackers will turn into ash only, and that will only create a noise, nothing else. The next question which will arise is that what is the algal bloom and its effects on the aquatic life? See, algal bloom you can say in your daily life. Okay, you can see in your daily life whenever there's a pond or something like that, and when there is a kind of you can say like a kind of a green fungi. You can say, not a fungi but algae. You can say a green algae. You can say, and there's a kind of there's a bed. They make a bed over the this water body and then they float it. Okay, so basically, what is an algal bloom? So algal bloom is having a definition that there's a presence of large amount of nutrients in the waters, which is causing excessive growth of free floating algae. So question in the board exams can also clear for the one mass that what is the free floating algae? So there's a growth of planktonic algae. Okay, so there's a different name of algal bloom which is called as planktonic algae. Okay, algal blooms which is causing the deterioration of the water quality and the fish mortality. See, basically, fish needs oxygen to survive. Okay, so whenever there is a open bed kind of system, like see, if then algae can cover all the upper surface of the water, then the fish will actually having a difficulty in breathing. Okay, so basically that can actually deteriorate the fish mortality also. It can affect the aquatic life. Then we talk about the water quality. See, there is a purity in the water quality. Oceans are having salt, but there's no free floating algae in there. Okay, and whenever if that happens, then we would not be able to drink it. There's no kind of like that, and it would be not good for the quality would not be good, and they would be not good for the animals who would drink it. So basically, it is very much toxic, and it is which we can say, and some of the algae are also poisonous to very health. So we can say that these are things which are the algal bloom. When we talk about the biomagnification and its effects on the living organism, okay? So biomagnification, when we talk about it, biomagnification is a very simple concept, but it is like a very in a lengthy way. See, humans are omnivores. Okay, we can eat both veg also, non-veg also. And your animals, some of your animals are herbivores, and some of your animals are omnivores. But we eat both the animals. Okay, the herbivores animals they eat the grasses, and the carnivores animals they eat the other flesh of the other animals. Okay, so see, you can see this chart which in the picture which I have been added. See from the water body and all, and you can just see this that there is a food chain which has been there. Okay, so there is a toxic substance which is being accumulated by the organism. See, there's a difference between the trophic level. Okay, Like for example, there's an aquatic food chain. Okay, there's a fish in the water. Okay, and that fish eats like something in the water, and then that toxication they come into the fish. Then those fishes is being eaten by the bigger fish, and then that bigger fish is eaten by a bird. Okay, and then we eat that bird. So basically, what that toxication has toxic substance is being carried by the higher next trophic level. Okay, so what we can say is that biomagnification is a type of it's a kind of a process. Okay, there's a phenomenon. It is a process of which is there's an increase in the concentration of the toxicity. Okay, and this will happen because the toxic substance it will get accumulated as we eat and all those habits. So basically, we can say that most toxic substance is having in a human beings. Why? Because is that because we eat both. We eat veg, we eat non-veg. We are omnivores. Okay, so this phenomenon is also well known for the mercury and DDT. Next is the solid waste are increasing in the environment. So how we should dispose the solid waste and what are the types of the solid waste. So see, we can see that there is a solid waste of biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Okay, so when we talk about the biodegradable waste, biodegradable is comprising of your fruits, your peels, your leaves, your flowers, your those things which are actually degradable. Okay, so we can say that they are the biodegradable. Your non-biodegradable, the concept when arises when there is a kind of paper, your leather, your the metals, the rubber, the plastics. Plastics are the most hazardous one. Okay, so those actually waste are not being dumped. Okay, these are being dumped in the some sanitary landfills. There's a landfill which is being dumped, and then those waste are being put into that, and then it is being covered. So basically it takes years and years to degrade that. But when we talk about the biodegradable, they can degrade easily in the soil. They would just take a mixture and then it will come. But this will not happen in the plastic one system, the non-biodegradables. It will take a lot of time. Okay, so there are many types of the solid waste. There's a municipal solid waste which is being written here, which is comprising of from waste from the homes, office, stores, schools. There's a comprising of food waste, plastic, glass, and all those things. Okay,